Hey, Rich. Morning, David.
It's that easy to change names? No. Good morning.
Better.
Ken, Mike, is Doug gonna be on at 9 o'clock, Mike, you know?
Yes, he told me he would be.
Okay. Ken, could you let Doug Busby in if and when he comes on?
Yep, as soon as he shows up.
Okay, thank you. I'm assuming Baby Blue is not Bob Dylan. So, I remember later.
David, I didn't hear what you said.
I said,
Pardon?
I was assuming Baby Blue wasn't Bob Dylan.
No, see, I'm now Linda, so that's good.
Yeah.
If anybody hasn't seen the Bob Dylan movie yet, it's really good.
It is good.
Oh, okay, thank you.
A Complete Unknown is the name of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
He was from Hibbing, Minnesota, someplace like that.
Yeah.
A Complete Unknown.
Yeah.
Robert Zimmerman.
That is correct. Okay, it is 9 o'clock. I'd like to welcome everyone to the September panel meeting, September meeting of the Captiva Community Panel. First thing on the agenda is always introductions. And I will go through the roll call. I'm David Mintz. I am here. Bruce McDonald, is he here? No. Tony Lappy, secretary.
I'm here.
Sandy Stillwell Youngquist. She's called me. She's going to be running a little late, but she will be here. Marguerite Ty Meville.
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ken Suarez.
I'm here. Thank you.
John Wade. I saw him.
Good morning, everyone.
Michael Bennett.
Here.
He's here. John Rosen.
Good morning. Yes.
John Jensen.
Yeah, here, David. Thank you.
Linda Laird.
Here.
And I think that's everybody. We obviously have a quorum. The next thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes from August 12th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I so move.
John, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
And John, you can't, what do you call it? The motion and then second it.
So I think John Rosen made the
Second.
Okay. John Wade seconded. Yeah, try to sneak that in there. Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye, please.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. We normally will go through our agenda, which starts with our sheriff update and fire department update and CPD update and SCCF update. We will interrupt that if Doug Busby from the Lee County Department of Transportation gets on. Michael Bennett has been very helpful in trying to get him to come to a meeting. He's very cooperative usually. If and when he appears on the screen, we will probably try to substitute him in so that he can get back to work. But he was going to give us an update on what's happening with the infrastructure changes on between Water Stretch and in Santiva. Okay, so we'll do that. But the first thing on the agenda would be our Sheriff Department update from Rich Zeltman. Rich, I see you're here.
David, hi, could you hear me?
You got to speak a little louder or move yourself closer to the mic.
Yes, yes. Okay. How about now? Could you hear me a little better?
We can hear you a little better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just a couple of things. I'll try to get through this quickly so you could move on to important things.
You're
know-
important. You're important.
Thank you. A big part of our island life, as you know, is outdoor water, recreation, and boating. And I can't stress enough the importance of boating safety. I'm leading off with this because I'm not sure if you heard the tragic accident we had just to our neighbors on just off North Captiva a couple weeks ago. We had a really horrific boating accident. So I just want to stress the importance of, if anybody owns a boat, jet ski, any type of watercraft, it's fun, it's great, we encourage it, but just make sure that you practice safe boating safety, because that's something that we need to really look at. And we don't want to see any bad boating accidents. The other thing that because it's September, we have events coming up. One of them is the South Seas Captiva Triathlon. It's on September 28th, and we're going to be closing the roads it's a Sunday, from 6:45 a.m. to 9 a.m. Those of you who've lived out here for years, every year it's an annual triathlon that we have. So I just want to make sure your viewers know and people that live out here know that the roads will be closed from, on September 28th in the morning. It's a Sunday. Then we also have the Island Hopper event. If you're familiar with that event, that's an annual event out here on Captiva. That's on September 19th through the 21st. It's a singer-songwriter Island Hopper event. No roads will be closed at that time, but there's a lot of foot traffic, golf cart, just an increase in population out here. So just be careful during those days. And a lot of people walk the streets because there's several venues there, especially in the village, Tween Water, South Seas, from like Green Flash up to Andy Rossi gets packed with people on the roadway. So I just ask the public to be careful during those days.
Train going back and forth or something, I think. Are they doing a tram for Island Hopper?
I believe that the Tween Waters is going to have a tram. No. The Lee County, the recreation, yes, they are going to have a tram. You're absolutely right. Yes. To run from Tween Waters to South Seas.
I think it's just on Saturday is the thing. I haven't looked at it, but I think it's just on Saturday that'll be running around probably.
Yeah.
That sounds right, because I know it's Friday evening, it starts and it ends on Sunday afternoon, but Saturday's typically the bigger day of the event.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yep. So if there's any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Sergeant Zeltman?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Sergeant. Appreciate it. The next thing on the agenda was a report from Fire Chief Jeff Powell. He emailed me this morning advising that he won't be able to make it, but he did send me an update asking me to read it to the panel members and the participants on the call, and I will do so. Jeff says, we're proud to share several important updates that reflect our continual commitment to public safety, fiscal responsibility, and operational excellence. First thing is that firefighter testing is underway. Next week, we are conducting testing for 3 new firefighter positions. These additions will enhance our response capabilities and ensure we continue to meet the needs of our district. Number 2 says boating accident near Upper Captiva Pass. We would like to express our deepest condolences to the families affected by this heartbreaking accident. Our thoughts and prayers are with them in this incredibly difficult time. This tragedy is a stark and painful reminder of how quickly recreation on the water can turn devastatingly dangerous. Even experienced individuals can fall victim to accidents when vigilance lapses. If you or someone you know frequently goes boating or uses personal watercraft, please take a moment to revisit safety protocols. Even simple precautions like wearing life jackets, checking equipment, and not operating under the influence can dramatically reduce risks. If anyone is interested, we can help find upcoming boater safety courses, local regulations, or equipment checklists for the Captiva area. I was not fully aware what happened here, but it does sound like someone died in an accident. 3, new ladder truck contract finalized. We're excited to announce that we have finalized the contract with Pierce Manufacturing for a new ladder truck, which is expected to be delivered in approximately 1 year. This state-of-the-art apparatus will replace the current 16-year-old apparatus while significantly improving our ability to respond to complex incidents and serve our community more effectively. We thank our residents for their continued support and trust. These updates reflect our ongoing mission to provide top-tier emergency services while maintaining fiscal responsibility. Sincerely, Jeff Powell, Fire Chief.
Okay.
We can't ask Jeff Powell any questions at this point, so we won't. Next on the agenda, Mike Bennett, I see we have Doug Busby here, and
Yes.
someone sitting next to Doug Busby, it looks like. And maybe they can introduce themselves. Doug Busby, Michael, why don't you take it from here and introduce them, and then it's your committee, the infrastructure committee. So why don't
Okay, short introduction. First of all, Doug, thanks for joining us this morning. Doug is the operations manager for DOT in Lee County, and he's kind of been our point person for information on the infrastructure project that's designed to fortify the road leading up to Jensen's Curve, among others. And we've been communicating over the past probably 6 months about that. And I think there's a lot of curiosity as to how that's going to look and what impact it may have on access to the beach for the residents along that stretch of road. So, Doug, if you could give us an update and address a little bit of that, we'd really appreciate it.
Good morning. Sorry, we were having a little bit of issues connecting. So I'm Doug Busby, the operations manager. Avelino Conceal is with me. He's our bridge engineer. He is the project manager for these projects out there. So he's put together some of the basics of where we're at, kind of a timeline. We are just getting started on this. So, but I'll let him kind of give you an update and where we're at.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. For this Sunnyvale and Captiva Drive resiliency project, we're basically in the pre-design phase. We're working with Lee County Procurement Department to get this project advertised for the selection of a design consulting firm. Well, as I said, we're getting ready to advertise. So at this point, we don't have a design firm. This process to select a consulting firm will take 6 to 9 months, depending. It's basically procurement will put out a request for qualifications, and whatever firm is interested in designing this project will submit the qualification to the procurement department. From there, the procurement department will organize a selection committee, and we're going to have meetings in that selection committee where we sit down and we evaluate all the proposals to find out who will be the most qualified firm to perform this design. Once that is done, which we anticipate will be April, May next year, then that consulting firm will proceed to design the project. I'm estimating about 6 to 9 months of design. Hopefully, we'll be starting construction by December 2026, kind of, more or less, depending on several factors. The construction, I anticipate a whole year. So we're saying that the project will be done and completed by late 2027. Now, on the technical side, there are several options on how to do this. Marine mattresses, sheet piles, big gabion rocks, which is like big rocks. At this point, we don't know which method we're gonna use because that will be decided with the consultant. It's like a balancing act between environmental, cost effectiveness, resiliency, keeping the character of the island, because we don't want to put something that don't go in accordance to the culture or the character that we have on the island. So at this point, we're getting ready to start advertising. Since this is a grant funded project, we need the go ahead of the grantor, which is HUD, before we can advertise. So I'm the project manager. I'm putting everything in row. So when the grantor gave us the go ahead, we just jump in with the advertisement. And that's the point I'm now. I will be more than happy to, if you guys have a contact person, and keep updating as the project progresses.
Mm-hmm.
So just so you guys know, we submitted grants for 3 different projects. The section at Jensen's Curve, we're working with Sanibel on the curve just before Blind Pass that washed out. Now they have sheet piles already, but we're looking at a resiliency package on that curve also. Those 2 were put together as one project, and then some hardening on the Blind Pass Bridge itself on the approaches. So the Jensen's Curve and the Sanibel portion have gone to the board and been approved. The Blind Pass hardening has not at this point. It's subject to go to the board. When we're looking at next within a month.
No, that one didn't make it for the next meeting, so it's still like on holding.
Within a month, or within a couple months, it'll be going to the board, and we really can't do much till that goes to the board. So, if you have any particular questions, we can try our best to answer them. That's kind of where we're at.
Okay.
Doug, I know one question that has been asked by several people who are residents along that stretch before Jensen's Curve is not only obviously the design, which you really can't speak to yet, but also just the process and the ability to communicate or gain input from the residents or the taxpayers along that stretch of road. Will that be part of this process?
Yes, we'll have a PIO on board to communicate with the citizens. I've spoke to a couple of them. So those properties own a small strip on the other side. So I've told them all we will have to, Lee County and the contractor will have to, and actually the designer will have to communicate with everybody because of that situation. I know there's been some concern of some big steel sheets blocking the beach and, visual issues, access issues. We're not trying to go in there and build some big old barrier wall. We're basically trying to do something along the edge of the asphalt to keep the water from undermining the asphalt itself. Something similar to, when you guys leave the island and you go through the toll facility, you'll see on your right-hand side, there's a concrete cap on the edge of that asphalt down through there. Now, they did do marine mattress along that section. Our initial, the scope we put together for the grant called out for sheet pile along Jensen's curved section. That doesn't mean the sheet pile has to be sticking out of the ground. The sheet pile can go in the ground and then a concrete cap can be put on it and tie the road section and all together. So there's multiple ways this can be done. We're not trying to block access for anybody to get to the beach or make some big eyesore. So, but again, I have, several contacts, David, and several of you guys that, once we get a designer on board and we go ahead and get the scope put together, at that point, we can share it with you guys and just make sure everybody's on board. That way, before we start the design process, we can work out any of them details up front.
And we're gonna keep the community involved in every step of this project. So, once we got the contractor or the consultant, and we identify the public information officer, I will instruct that public information officer to contact the community so we can find a person that is going to represent the community, and we're going to go step by step all the way.
Mike Bennett, who's on the top right of the screen, at least on my screen, I don't know about on yours. He is the chair of our infrastructure committee, and so he will always be available to communicate with you, I suspect. And then he will give reports to the Captiva Community Panel as appropriate. And we'll invite you back if and when you would like to, or when we feel the need to speak with you, if that works.
Yeah. After this meeting through Doug, I can send my contact information to Mike or to any person here in this call, and you guys can contact me directly with any question. As I say, at this point, this project was accepted or approved by the BOCC. We're waiting for HUD to give us the go ahead to advertise for RFQs for consulting firm to prepare the plans and the design.
Terrific.
Any questions for the gentleman from DOT?
I've got one, which is, what is the size of the grants? Just curiosity.
3.25 million.
And that's for the two projects, not.
Yeah, for the Sunnyvale side and for the Captiva Jensen Curve side.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions from panel members? Okay. Ken, are there any questions from the public?
There are not.
Okay. Mike, did you have anything else to add here?
No, but I'll look forward to the contact and we'll stay in touch.
Okay, I would just like to add that Mr. Busby has been incredibly responsive to the needs of Captiva over the past years through the hurricanes in terms of helping us get the sand off the streets and innumerable ways. And when we call him, he responds almost immediately. And I don't know if people congratulate him for that often, but I will say he's one of the more responsive people we've ever dealt with in Lee County, and we thank you, Doug.
All right. Well, again, we'll make sure we stay in communication. We definitely don't want to get in the middle of this design and have to start over. So we will communicate with everybody up front once we get the scope laid out, and make sure everybody's on board with what we're doing, and we address any concerns before we move forward with the full design. So,
all right.
Great.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
fellas.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, if you're done with us, we'll pull out and let you guys move on with your meeting.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Thanks,
thanks,
guys.
fellas.
Thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is Chairman John Wade. I'm not sure he's going to give the report, or Mr. Hurd is with us from CEPD.
Hi, Dave. We have Brighton with us today. He's going to give a report.
Okay, Brighton, we see you, and please proceed.
Thank you, David. Good morning. Yeah, so I'm sure everyone has noticed that Turner Beach parking lot is closed and we have got mobilized equipment into the lot. They are beginning to stack the pipe and piece it together. We're still on schedule to begin dredging on September 20th. They will start at that southern end at Turner Beach and work their way north across the island. It's still estimated to take 56 days if there are no weather delays. They will be working 24/7, and they'll be providing access over the pipe with small sand ramps. And we don't anticipate any major disruptions in anyone's vacations because they'll be moving at a rate of 400 to 500 feet across the island as they work. So they shouldn't be in front of anyone's home for more than a day or two. Other than that, we had our monthly board meeting yesterday and we held our preliminary budget hearing where we tentatively approved a preliminary millage rate of the rolled back rate of 0.3740. And we also approved our budget. Those are all the updates that I've got.
Is there, well, I'll first ask, are there any questions for Mr. Hurd from the panel?
I'll get one, Brian, and maybe you aren't the right person. Do you anticipate the speed of the dredging and or accretion on the beaches to be faster from the South Turner Beach to Tween Waters, faster than it is going up? Are they going to need more sand past the Jensen curve due to the erosion there and the accretion? Is that, can you answer
Well,
that? No, I'm
generally
just curious.
speaking, the schedule that they provided to us showed the island split into 4 sections that they intend on working in, and each of them had the same amount of time. So I would imagine that they don't anticipate any major delays with some of the areas that are more eroded. We are getting a brand new dredge ship in, the Amelia Island, which is supposed to have higher capacity dredging than any other ship that's ever been used for a renourishment project here. So I hope that we can see really high production rates.
Great, thank you.
I got a question, Brighton.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is John Jensen from Sunset Captiva.
Yes, sir.
And I know we talked about where it was laid out in the dunes when the sand gets pumped going into our new vegetation. And I know you were going to try and maybe work around it, kind of.
Yeah, I talked to them about it and they can do some in the field engineering. It's gonna really amount to how much sand is going where that vegetation is. They told me if it's really not much, they could probably just not worry about it. But if it's several feet of sand that need to go in that particular location, then they would probably need to put the sand over the top of the plants or move them if possible.
If I could speak to that.
That makes sense.
If
If
I
you
could speak
could
to
give
that,
us a
Brighton.
notice, maybe give us a notice, if it looks like they're going to have to go over the plants, because we can move the stakes and the plants. So
Okay,
you give us maybe a week's notice, or
absolutely. Yeah,
we can take care of it. Okay.
So
we'll make sure they're
John,
aware.
John, this is John Wade.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
John.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, John.
The stakes that were laid out last month is the landward side of the dune project. If you see the stakes, none other than right over in the corner next to Andy Rossi, your vegetation project does not impede into the dune project at all.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the stakes that were put in?
Yeah, at the south end, it's outside of our new vegetation, but as you go north, it starts cutting in towards into our vegetation.
Yes, so I can tell you that's the line. That's the line where
Okay.
they will be putting there will will be the beginning of the dune ramp up. It'll start at the toe at a certain elevation, which is about where you guys are now. If you look on the stakes, it'll have the elevation of the stake
Okay.
on that point. And the dune height is going to be on average around 10 feet. So if you're at 6 feet at that stake, they're going to go up another 4 feet in elevation, but it won't be obviously a vertical line straight up. They gradually do it at a I think it's like a 5-to-1 a ratio scope when they start to build the dune up. There is going to be a conflict as you get towards the end at the intersection of Andy Rossi.
Okay.
So we should probably offline talk about where you have the bollards and the ropes and a couple of those plants are going to have to be cut back.
Okay. Okay. I'll get with Brighton then, and we can meet out there next week or so.
I would say that needs to be situated. But for the most part, I think about 90% of your project is outside of the scope of those stakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't imagine with it being so close to that edge that there will be much sand that goes over the top of that.
Okay. All right.
Well, the issue also is that
It's
the
the dunes.
design of the dunes and the path going out to the beach is going to cut in that direction. It's going to cut southwest ward. It won't be a straight line, looking eastward from the street. It's going to take a diagonal angle to the left and then cut back. And Andy Rossi is a bit unique because it has to be extra wide for YOLO and for the amount of spectators and visitors who are generally in that area in the evening.
Okay.
So,
all right. And then is there plans to do plantings like seagrass and?
oh yeah, lots of that. That's what we're
Okay.
working on. There's definitely going to be seagrass. That's part of the project, but we're also going to be adding additional, hopefully, mature plantings as well.
Or sea oats, I meant. Yeah, sea oats. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, John. Thanks, Brighton.
John Rosen.
Good morning, John. Good morning, Brighton. Thank you both for all the
Morning.
hard work you put in. I appreciate it. Finally getting to a beginning point that I know you guys have been trying to get to for a period of time. A couple questions. At this point, do you understand, or do you know estimated final cubic yardage of sand that's going to be spread across the island at this point? Also, a final cost, if that's been determined, and if the financing for this with the bonds are now in place.
Do you want me
Brighton,
to take
you want
that,
to
John?
take this or?
Well, you go ahead. We're going to have a follow-up meeting to determine. We were told that we would need, if we want to do a full restoration, 1.2 million cubic yards. The contract was only for 800,000 cubic yards. So the difference of 400,000 cubic yards costs about 7.6 million on top of the 26.4 that we were initially contracted for the 800,000. So there are discussions about how much of that we actually want to implement.
As of yesterday, the board decided to limit the project to the original contract limits, which it was 800,000 cubic yards with an additional contingency of 25% plus or minus, which would be 200,000 cubic yards. So to add of the suggested 400,000 cubic added yardage due to the storms of Helene and Milton, we have limited it to 200,000 cubic yards, which would bring us from 800 to 1 million at this point. We're not comfortable with going with the extra 200,000, but that still is yet to be determined after we review more engineering, an engineering presentation from Aptum in the next 10 days. It's going to be somewhere between 800,000 and 1.2. Most likely it's going to be limited to it's going to probably land at around 1 million cubic yards. And that will also give us the benefit of keeping the existing contract, and it will not require a change of order, which would void our current agreement and allow them to basically skip free of not making their contract window, which is going to come with some fines.
Okay.
So in that regard, the final cost is still in flux, depending on obviously the amount of cubic yards that are going to be ultimately utilized. And if you could address the financing, the flexibility with that, if that's available in place, or how that's going to work should the project go above the amount that you're estimating at this point.
Yeah, we have the financing. We secured a 25, through the public referendum, we secured a $25 million loan with Regions Bank. And then we also have $13 million in DEP granting, and then a few other smaller ones, along with a small local cost share coming from the TDC in Lee County. So the funding is in place. It's just a matter of the final cost, which in the way these projects operate, John, is that we don't really know until it's over. The best we can give you is an estimate, which is going to be somewhere between 26 million and 31 million dollars. Of which, when we sharpen our pencils, all is said and done, I'm guessing around January, February, we'll be able to really kind of see when the dust settles what's left, and that will be then applied to next year's assessment.
Thank you both. I appreciate it.
I'd like to real quick. I'd like to address the project that was discussed earlier with Mr. Busby and his associate. I didn't really want to engage the situation with them giving us the privilege of actually addressing it. But I don't know if this helps, and I know some people react very differently to what I'm about to say. But the reality is that we are going to be engaging Doug as well. And his department about this project. And when I say we, I mean the CEPD. The CEPD has full right to have to review and approve this project. I'm not sure that's fully aware to many other agencies in the county and in the state. So I would just say, if it helps for people to feel a little bit better about not letting this thing slip through our hands as a community, we are a backstop in this project. And Doug is going to be made aware of that. We have the right to absolutely review and have to approve this project, as it is considered an erosion prevention project.
That's good.
So we have Doug's commitment that the community will be involved. We now know that CEPD will be directly involved. So I think the community can feel fairly confident that there will be a lot of public input into what this final project is going to look like.
Yeah.
Speaking for the CEPD, I will also commit to making sure we have a public hearing independently of the DOT for the community to come together with the CEPD to discuss whatever plans are put forward.
Okay, great.
Great. Awesome.
Any other questions for Mr. Hurd or Mr. Wade? I just have one question, because I'm not you probably answered it, but I probably missed it. Do we have an end date for when the beach erosion project will be completed?
It's estimated.
Do you have it on the schedule?
I don't have the exact date. I hadn't counted it out, but it's 56 days from September 20th, barring no delays. But that's just an estimate. I think that there are some contingencies as well built into that, so it very well could be more quickly completed than 56 days. I think they just don't want to guarantee that. So
You're talking about towards the end of November, it should be complete.
correct.
Right around.
And just, well, I just want to be clear, that's the window for the dredging. We still are going to be a lot of the dune work with the ropes, the bollards, the sea oats, and the vegetation and the design of the pathways is going to occur post dredging. So I would say the secondary phase, if we want to really talk about 100% completion, the secondary phase will be dune work, which will probably begin sometime at the end of the year.
Okay.
It'll be started at the end of the year or completed by the end of the year? I'm sorry.
It'll be, we can't do any dune work until the dredging is done. So when they let's just say they finish the dredging in November, early November, we will hopefully be ready to begin the dune work right away with regards to the plantings and the ropes and bollards and path design.
Okay, so if you start, so you may start towards the end of the year to do that. And that would take about how long before you think that would be completed? No idea at this point?
I can't say I don't want to say a number that there's a lot of things in the year. I'm just experience wise, I would guess anywhere from 30 to 60 days, I'd love to see everything done by February 1st.
Okay, okay, but obviously nobody's going to hold anybody to that date. Just it's an idea of what we'll be experiencing. Okay. Any other questions for CEPD? Thank you, guys. SCCF, Matt DePaulis, I saw he was here.
And then he disappeared.
He disappeared. Okay. Okay. Okay, the next thing, if he reappears, Ken, will you remind us?
Yep.
Okay. The next thing on the agenda, it says County Code Enforcement Update. There are a number of issues code-wise that are being violated on Captiva, and we've been fairly lax in enforcement because of the experience we've had with the hurricanes. And so I would like to suggest to the panel that, and I'm willing to work on this with Ken Gudaham, is to just put together a letter for all Captiva residents, reminding them of the code requirements under the Captiva code, and give people some time to comply. And then after such time, we can work with code enforcement to enforce some of those Captiva code provisions, which the panel has been, which the panel has drafted and made sure was included in the Captiva code. So for example, there's a lot of signage violations going on in Captiva. There are signs, posted everywhere about spray foam insulation and various other things that don't belong on our streets, and they have to be removed. There's a competing signs among landscapers. None of that is complies with code. So I think a letter that comes out from the panel with respect to signage is important. Also, people have forgotten that if you're renting your home, there's a 7-day minimum under the Captiva code. If you're not a resort, obviously that doesn't apply to South Seas or Twin Waters or any of the other hotels or resorts on Captiva, but it applies to all the rental houses, and there's a 7-day minimum under the code, and people have to be reminded of that. We have a new lighting ordinance about dark skies that have been placed for a while now, but are being violated. People can't have lights that shine directly on other people's properties. That is going on Captiva. I think we have to remind people that those violate the code. There's a noise and music code provision in the Captiva code. There's no amplified music after 10 p.m. anywhere on Captiva, including the resorts, unless you have a special permit. And so we need to remind people of that because people we have change of ownership, people don't know about the code or they forget about it. And then we want to have a clarifying statement from the county with respect to turtle lighting, which we can include in that document. So if it's all right with everyone, I'm going to ask Ken Gudaham to begin to draft out a reminder on the code requirements for Captiva, and then we'll bring it back to the panel. The panel will review it, and then we'll get it out to everybody. I think we'd rather have everybody voluntarily comply rather than have any unnecessary enforcement on the island. But I think these are important things that we've worked hard to get incorporated into the Captiva code, and we want to remind people of their existence. Does that make sense to people?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So
Dave, I have a question.
Sure.
You said new lighting code is how much of the codes that you're referring to are the from the Captiva plan versus Lee County?
With respect to lighting, there,
Yeah, I was unaware of the lighting thing. I think it's important. You address this. I'm pretty sure the signs are part of the Captiva code. I just was wondering how much of this is Captiva code versus Lee County.
okay, the noise, the music, the lighting, the 7-day requirement, and the signage are all in chapter 33 of the Captiva code. The noise ordinance is actually a separate ordinance. It's not actually part of the code, but it's an ordinance. The lighting is part of the code. The lighting section of the Captiva code is in addition to the lighting sections that exist in the Lee code. It's a amplification. It's a further restriction on the Lee code that applies strictly to Captiva because of the dark skies provision of the plan. And there's a dark skies provision of the plan, and the code has implemented that provision of the plan. So if you really want to know everything about lighting on Captiva, you look at the Lee County code, and then you look at the Captiva code, and they work together.
Thank you.
Okay. So Ken Gooderham, is that all right with you that you could start putting that together?
Yes, I'll start working on that next week.
Okay, thank you. Next thing on any other questions on that?
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing on the agenda is county South Seas redevelopment, rezoning, and legal update. A lot has happened. And I'll try to go through it quickly. In the circuit court, Judge Schenko, as everybody knows, issued an order, a decision, a judgment, basically limiting density on South Seas to 912 units. After he issued that decision, because it was appealed by both South Seas, but more importantly, because it was appealed by Lee County, under state statute, an automatic stay goes into effect on any decision in a circuit court which is appealed by the county or by any municipality, any city, any government body. It's an automatic stay, which means that it doesn't apply while the appeal is pending. And we have an appeal pending, and all the briefs in the appeal that was appealed by the county and South Seas have been filed. And now we're waiting for the court to issue a date for oral argument. And then we don't know when that'll be. And then a decision will issue, either reversing or affirming or somehow modifying that decision of Judge Schenko. But the Civic Association believed that it had an obligation to go before Judge Schenko and did so on September 3rd, asking him to vacate the stay, the automatic stay that went into effect by the county appealing this. And the concern that CCA had is once the county approved the rezoning application that increased density on the South Seas property to 1,200 and I believe 38 units rather than 912, or on their property from the 272 units they were allowed for 50 years to 628 units. The CCA felt they had an obligation to go before Judge Schenko and ask him to vacate the stay. It is very difficult to vacate automatic stays in Florida. The case law basically says the only way you can vacate a stay basically is if there is an emergency situation that requires that stay to be vacated. In response to CCA's motion to vacate the stay, South Seas and the county submitted a response and an affidavit saying that there is no request for building permits at this time. No building permits are going to be requested until the first quarter at the earliest in January. And then the county takes a long time to review the permits. So there wouldn't be permits even issued by the county until second, third, maybe quarter of 2026. And at that point, the appeal should be heard and decided. And therefore, according to the county, there would be no reason to lift the stay at this point. Judge Schenko listened to the arguments and basically said that under the case law, his hands are really tied from being able to vacate the stay. However, he said that he has ordered South Seas and or the county to advise CCA at the time they're going to request building permits, or when the county is going to get a request for building permits and is in the process of reviewing them for issuance of building permits, to advise CCA in enough time of that request so that the CCA can come back before the judge at that point, if it is becoming imminent or looks like it's imminent, that building permits may be issued, which was a very good resolution for the CCA and for the community, because we are now going to be advised beforehand if in fact building permits are going to be requested, and that will give CCA the opportunity to come before the judge and get an injunction to prevent them from being issuing and have them vacate the stay at that point. We thought that was a very positive outcome. What was also interesting is that the South Seas attorney said that when you're asking us to give CCA notice of any request for building permits for dwelling units, because as everybody remembers, the order was 912 limit, a limit of 912 dwelling units. The South Seas said, you just mean dwelling units, not necessarily hotel units. And as everybody knows, there's the zoning approved 193 condominiums or timeshare units, residential dwelling units, and 435 hotel units. And the judge asked the lawyer for CCA to read to him his order from granting CCA's motion for summary judgment, limiting the development to 912 units. The lawyer for CCA started reading the order wherein Judge Schenko signed the order, which said that the 1973 zoning approval of 912 units included hotel units. And he started to read the judge's order where he said the ADD, the Administrative Interpretation of 2002, which limited development to 912 units, including hotel units. Before he could even finish reading the second one, the judge said he has heard enough, and he advised South Seas that his order included dwelling unit. In his order on dwelling units, it included hotel units. And so therefore, since his order included hotel units as part of the 912, they are to advise CCA if they're going to request permits for either timeshares, condos, or hotel units. Any dwelling unit, any place where people are going to stay, they have to notify CCA beforehand that they're requesting those building permits. What the judge basically did is he reinforced the view of CCA and virtually the view of most people in the community, that the order that limited South Seas to 912 units includes both timeshares, condominiums, and hotel units. So the CCA was very pleased with the outcome of that hearing that took place before Judge Schenko on September 3rd. So that's number one. Number two, after the August 6th approval by the Board of County Commissioners of the rezoning application for South Seas, the various parties that are affected by this rezoning got together and decided to file a petition for a writ of certiorari. which means they are basically challenging or appealing the decision of the Board of County Commissioners, basically saying that the rezoning approval violated not only the due process of people who lived on South Seas, because they weren't given full participation rights in the hearing, but it also violated the Captiva Community Plan and the Land Development Code. And so basically this petition for writ of certiorari, basically an appeal of the county's decision for rezoning, was filed last Friday, and it was submitted to the court, and the court will then review this and decide whether to issue within, could be a month, it could be 2 months, we don't know, issue what's called an order to show cause, asking the county to explain why the rezoning should be upheld and not quashed and not vacated, and basically why the appeal of the community should not be sustained. And what's important to note here is that this petition for a writ of certiorari has been filed to the appellate division by the CCA, the Captiva Civic Association, RLR Investments, Royal Shell Vacations, Harborview Villas at South Seas, Plantation Beach Club Owners at South Seas, Plantation Beach Club 2 Owners Association, Plantation Beach Club 3 Owners Association, Plantation Bay Villas Owners Association, Plantation House Condominium Owners Association, South Seas Club Condominium Association, Cottages at South Seas Plantation Condominium Association, Bayside Villas Condominium Association, Beach Cottages Condominium Association, Beach Villas 3 Condominium Association, Captiva Resort Villas Condominium Association, Gulf Beach Villas Condominium Association, Land's End Village Condominium Association, Marina Villas Condominium Association, Sandrift Property Owners Association, Seabreeze at South Seas Plantation Condominium Association, South Seas Plantation Beach Home Condominium Associations, South Seas Plantation Beach Home Sites Association, and Sunset Beach Villas Condominium Association. That gives you a sense of the breadth of the appeal of this rezoning application by organizations that believe they are negatively affected by the changes in density and building heights and the construction that's going to go on at South Seas. That is, in my view, amazing level of unity among the constituents in this community. And on top of that, house that is on South Seas, Soraya, they have filed a separate petition for a writ of certiorari because the one of the structures that South Seas is building basically violates their belief of the buffering and easement rights that that building has. So the home, that property has. So we have 2 petitions for writ of certiorari now pending in the appellate division, challenging the approval by the Board of County Commissioners. And then in addition, the appeals in the DOA case, the case that challenged the validity of the code amendments that allowed all this to happen, that exempted South Seas from the 3 units per acre for hotels that applies to everybody else on Captiva. Those appeals have been filed, and those will be also scheduled for hearing before the appellate courts. So a lot of things are happening. You know, we were very, the CCA was very pleased by the hearing before Judge Schenko, because it became evident that he understood this case, and it was very important that it was understood, because this is a complex matter.
Hey,
Okay.
David.
Yep.
I don't know if you just saw, but word just came down that Schenko has been assigned to our writ case.
Really? I did not.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When you say our case, you're talking about the case that I just read all the plaintiffs on.
Yes.
Okay, so that is interesting. Yeah, there is also a case that, as everybody knows, South Seas sued CCA for claiming that the 912 includes hotel units. Obviously, the complexion of that case changes after the September 3rd hearing, because it was very clear that Judge Schenko, in his order, believed that the 912 includes hotel units. So I don't know what's going to happen with that case against the CCA. However, in that case, our attorneys have asked that that case also be transferred, and filed a motion to transfer that case to Judge Schenko also. It is important in that a judge hearing these cases understands this matter. And so the fact that it's been assigned to Judge Schenko, I think, is a positive thing. Thank you, Ken. Are there any other questions about this litigation? I know it's difficult to follow at times. It's complicated, but it's important, obviously.
David, I have a question.
Sure.
When was the appeal process initially filed? How long ago? It was last winter, February or so?
Which there are
Not the appeal by South Seas to the circuit court.
that decision was issued sometime last winter. The appeal would have been sometime in the spring, right?
Yeah. So my understanding is it's in general, the circuit appeal averages around 18 months or so. So we wouldn't anticipate a judgment sometime next spring or early summer.
It's very hard to know that because there's a new appellate court in Lee County.
Yeah.
We used to be part of the Sarasota district, and now we have our own district, basically. And it's hard to know what the timing of this is going to be. The next step would be to assign that appeal to a panel of judges. And that, as far as I know, that hasn't taken place yet. And then they will schedule oral argument. And we don't know when that'll take place. And then after oral argument, when a decision will issue is also unknown. So it could be, what I've heard is anywhere from 6 to 18 months. What you're hearing, the 18 months, is at the outer end. We've heard anywhere from 6 to 18 months. And there's no way to know at this point.
Would there be any, in your opinion, do you think that would be the end of the road for them, or would you think they'd try to go to the federal, what would the next step after appeal?
I mean, technically, the next step would be the Florida Supreme Court. My understanding is the Florida Supreme Court has very limited jurisdiction in the cases that they hear, and that it would be very unlikely that this case could be appealed any further higher than the appellate court.
So where I'm going with this, and I'm just throwing out ideas. Has there been any thought from the CCA or the CCP to at some point sit down with South Seas and see if there's some sort of middle ground? That generally in these situations, as things really start to come to a head through an appeals process, and they know that they're staring down, the end of a barrel that could not go well for them, they tend to maybe want to be a little bit more flexible. Has there been any thought of that? And I don't know what that would look like, but I'm just trying to figure out a resolve here that maybe we can all move on with our lives and whatnot for both parties. It seems to me that we're in a good position. It's very hard for an appeal to be overturned or a claim. Judge Schenko, his judgment should be held, most likely, statistically. So I've got to believe that South Seas is not feeling too well about it, and maybe that puts them in a position to want to compromise.
All I can tell you is what I've said, and I can't speak for obviously all the attorneys involved in this and all the parties, including the South Seas associations at this point. But personally, my position, and I can't speak for CCA, obviously, and the panel is not directly involved in this, but all I can say is we've been open to talking to the new owners of South Seas since day one. We've said it, I've said it repeatedly here. I don't know if there's room for any, what you're calling compromise. These are code interpretations of the code. Either it's 3 units per acre that applies to Twin Waters, it applies to Sandy's Hotels, it applies to everybody else. And so I'm not sure one could, quote, negotiate a different number. I think the code is what the code is. I mean, if something was negotiated, you'd have to go back to the county, you'd have to work that all through. At this point, I think my fair estimation is that South Seas is hoping they prevail in court. I have no reason to believe at this point that they have interest in compromise and negotiating. That has not been our sense, but I will repeat it. We're always open and available to speak with anyone regarding this issue.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else regarding the legal matters? Let me just say this. We have raised about $1.5 million from donations to cover the costs of the legal fees. And we spent, we're almost at that point of spending that much. Every time we put out a legal update, people are incredibly generous. We've gotten over 1,600 contributions, donations from people in the community on Sanibel, outside the area, people who visit. We've gotten donations running from $3 that people send in to $100,000 that people sent in. So just you have a sense of not only the unanimous support that we're getting when you look at the plaintiffs, the petitioners in the petition for a writ of certiorari, but when you look at the contributions that people being made and the support that we have from the community and from Sanibel. So I just want people to get a sense of, it's overwhelming to see that 1,600 people have donated to this cause. It's strictly gratifying beyond belief. Okay, the next thing on the agenda, no other questions? Okay. The next thing on the agenda, I just had public records requests. Everybody on the panels received an email from me relating a request from our attorney. I don't want to discuss it here, but if anybody has any questions about the email regarding just some additional information from the public records request, just contact me, or you can contact our attorney directly. I don't think it amounts to very much because what they're looking for, I'd be surprised if you have any document in response to that, but if you do, just please send it to the attorney. You have his email address and he'll review it and he'll probably get back to you to discuss it. Okay. Now for the big surprise that we're all dealing with. About a week ago, on the Rauschenberg Foundation website, the Rauschenberg Foundation announced that they are selling all of their property on Captiva and are leaving Captiva. You've seen, Ken, I don't know if you want to share the screen with that particular document. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if Ken even hears me. But, oh, there he goes. Okay, so they issued this on their website, which basically said that despite their efforts to rebuild the property after the hurricanes, that to maintain its resilience would be a great expense. And they feel that in the interest of the mission of their foundation, which is supporting artists throughout the world, that it makes sense for them to sell the property and to move on and use the proceeds from the sale to support the work that they're committed to supporting. And Ken, if you could put back the map. So this property consists of, Ken, if you put the map back on, please. The property consists of about 22 acres of land. I think some of it is in the, you can see on the green on the left, it's in the Gulf of Mexico. So it's really about 20 acres that's for sale. It consists of 10 acres of RS1 zone, 1.5 acres of commercial zoning, which is right along Captiva Drive, and TFC2 zoning, which is what Leica Lane and Whiteman Lane is. It's multifamily or single family. That's about 9.81 acres. So it's about 20 acres of property. It's been listed with a broker out of Miami. There's no price attached to this property at this point. They're listening to people's interest, developers' interest. I've been told, and I have no direct evidence of it, but I've been told that South Seas is interested in purchasing this property. And I've been told that there are two other developers with the wherewithal to purchase this property that are interested and are doing due diligence on the property. So it is a very unique piece, obviously. It's zoned 3 units per acre, both for hotels and for dwelling residential units. But as we all know, the county can rezone things. And so it's there. We've I will tell you that I've received a large number of calls about this already, and that there is an effort that's just beginning now, just getting underway, an exploratory effort to put together a community, a steering committee, and basically a fundraising committee, but a community committee to put together a package to purchase this property for Captiva. There is great interest among a number of folks who are just beginning to speak to each other to basically purchase this property for a refuge, for public space for the Captiva community, which would include maintaining the helicopter pad for the fire department, obviously, which is important, and maybe have a retention pond somewhere in the appropriate place for stormwater to collect. So that's been a big problem on Captiva when we did the stormwater, met with the stormwater consultants. The first question they asked, is there a place where there's land available for a retention pond? And the answer at that point was no. Now there may be a place for that. And so over the next couple of weeks, there will be an effort to put together a team to see if we could, we as a community can purchase this property. We've been told by the broker that they're looking for somewhere, though they haven't put a price on it, they're looking somewhere between $40 and $50 million for the 20 acres. Some people think that's high. I have no knowledge of whether it is or it isn't. There's wetlands on that property, and I don't know. I just know from speaking to some of the developers that they feel it's a very, very unique property. Some of the developers believe that, potential developers believe that this property should be preserved by the community, first and foremost. And they would defer to that if we're able to pull that off. And so that's where we stand. I suspect that we'll have, we've been in contact with SCCF, who obviously has done this on preserved land and in the past on Sanibel, excuse me, primarily. But again, we're just at the exploratory phase. I have asked Tony Lappy and Sandy Stillwell to work at least initially with me and contacts, because I have to say Sandy and Tony have been engaged in fundraising for innumerable organizations and efforts over the decades, and their wisdom in this I thought would be very helpful. Anyone else, and they've agreed to work with us. Anyone else on the panel who wants to participate in this process, just let me know. But I would guess within the next couple of weeks, we'll have a sense of how this is going to come together. My sense in talking to people who have been speaking with the broker is that the Rauschenberg Foundation's first choice is to have it preserved by the community in honor, basically, of Bob Rauschenberg's wishes. So it's a big effort. It's a big challenge, and just what we needed on Captiva is another challenge. But we usually meet our challenges, or try to. So anyway, that's the scoop. I don't know if anybody has any questions at this point, but there's going to be some informal discussions among key individuals and organizations over the next couple of weeks. And at the next meeting of the panel, I would hope we would have some structure that we can talk about. And I would hope that the panel will play a big role in this effort if it can come together. We're going to try to take some leadership from SCCF, but they haven't even had an opportunity to speak to their board about this yet. Any questions?
I just have a comment, and it's Sandy. I did reach out to the county commissioners yesterday in a letter, and the county manager and John Talmadge, just letting them know that the property is for sale and that there's a great interest to preserve it. And I just wanted to throw it out for 2020 money, just because I don't know, they always have a cycle for looking at this, and I just wanted to at least put it, out there to them. And, but I did know Bob Rauschenberg personally. He ate in my restaurant a lot, brought a lot of notable stars, and we became friends because of our love for preserving Captiva. And that's why he had the property. And I know for a fact that he wanted that preserved. And I think if anything, to continue his legacy, it would behoove all of us to purchase this property, try to maybe get some state money. There has to be some grants and some funding out there that we can try to go for. So, but with all of our efforts together, I think we could do it. I really do. And it would be something that would solve so many problems. It would provide beach access. There are a lot of things that it could do. And so I just really think in honor of him that we owe it to ourselves to continue that legacy. I was very disappointed that his foundation decided to sell it. I am shocked, but they had to do what they had to do. But now I think it's time for us to step up.
I really appreciate those comments, Sandy. And as someone said to me, where there's a will, there's a way. And we'll try to find a way. There's lots of ways of maybe skinning this cat. We have 3 of the properties are on Leica Lane. They could stay as residential properties. That would reduce the cost if in fact, and so there are a lot of things, that creative ways we can think about this. And we're going to put together people to do that and then bring it back to the panel, and hopefully the panel will play a great role. And I really appreciate your willingness to help lead this, and Tony also at this point. So that's great. I have been told, and I don't know if it's true, but I've been told that Robert Rauschenberg's ashes are actually buried right there on that property. And so it behooves us to make sure that there isn't a hotel built on top of them. Okay, any other discussion on this? Okay, thank you. Next is the Stormwater Committee update, Mr. J. Brown.
Okay, thank you, David. The the stormwater project is being managed by Phil Ogilvy, Gillespie, I guess it is, and he's a project manager with the county. He has taken the position, David, as you know, that he does not want any citizen groups, involved in the project while it's underway. His position is that he wants to run the project through, and then at the time of completion, then he would make a presentation to the community to present the results of the study and what their recommendations are. Um, that's still his position, and the only thing he's agreed to do is to give me brief reports whenever he's had a meeting with the engineers. And the report I have is that the engineers have completed the phase of the project where they developed the model of Captiva Island. The model being what they use to determine where the various distress points would be on the island, with various amounts of rainfall flooding, what flooding would, and what kind of damage, where damage would occur. So that's the current status of the project. And he's still thinking it's about a year-long project away. I don't know, it's striking to me the difference between his attitude and what we just heard, from the representatives of Lee County, this morning, why we have two such different attitudes when you have basically the same kind of project going the same way.
I guess consistency is the hobgoblin of narrow minds, right?
Well, I don't know, but I don't know. I think maybe you and I ought to get together and see if we can't find some way to get him to open this process up more to us. But at least in the meantime, we know now that completing the model was the first phase of the project, and at least the project is moving along, and that phase of it has been completed. What the model looks like, I have no idea.
And do you know what did they say what the next phase is after the modeling?
I don't remember. They start looking at various scenarios to determine, where problems would be created with various amounts of rainfall. So that identifies where the problems are. And then once you have that, then you start looking at possible solutions for each of the problem areas.
Right, right. And I would guess, Jay, if we do preserve the Rauschenberg Foundation, we meaning the community, and there's a place for a retention pond.
Yeah,
change, that would be very different than what they were.
Absolutely, yeah. I think a retention pond is very likely part of the solution that we would have to
Right. So
manage stormwater properly on our island.
Right. A lot of moving parts here. All right. I'm happy to meet with you and figure out a way we can make them a little more flexible.
Okay.
Okay. Jay, you got wastewater next.
Yeah, on wastewater, I took everybody through an extended history of the wastewater project at our last meeting. The next step on the wastewater project is to create a working group consisting of panel members and people from Sanibel. Our side of the working group is you, me, and Mike Bennett. I have not heard yet from Sanibel what their side of the working group will be. As you probably know, I've spent all of the past month in Wyoming, and I haven't really followed up, Dana on this, but will in the next week or so.
Okay, great. Okay. Any questions for Jay on either the stormwater or the wastewater committees? Okay. Next on the agenda is nominating committee. Tony, you're the chair of that committee. At the October meeting before you're to present your recommendations for the two positions that are at-large positions on the panel. So between now and the October meeting, it's your job to talk to the committee. I have reached out to Jim Berg a couple of times and I've not heard from him. So I don't know, he may be on a trip somewhere, et cetera, but I know Mike Morris is available.
Yeah, bring up to date, David. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I talked with Mike and I sent him an email of what we felt. Ken Guterham's helped me out a bit. We have 4 candidates for the 2 slots. And what I've asked Mike to do and I'll do, and if we can get a hold of, because he doesn't have an email, I have to send it to his wife, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to ask them to rank those candidates. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And when we get the 3 of us together and see where we are, if we all align, then what we'll do in October, we'll make our recommendation to the board of the top 2, and you would go from there. Just so you know, my schedule for next meeting, I will not be able to attend. So what I will do is I will forward those results to you, David, ahead of the meeting, so you'll have the results of the committee. Yeah, I have a board meeting here, a live board meeting here that conflicts with the same time. So I'm sorry I can't be there, but we'll have all our homework done by then.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great. Okay, any questions for Mike? Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the Development Committee with Marguerite. And I know there was an attachment that everybody received in the packet. Marguerite, wherever you are, there you are. Do you want to take it from here?
Yes, yes, I will take it from here. I don't have the attachment in front of me, but
Ken, could you put the attachment on the screen, please?
yes, very good.
Now you have it in front of you.
Yes, now I have it in front of me. Yeah, we talked a lot about fundraising. Everyone needs funds, and we need it because we are very important. So we shouldn't underestimate ourselves. So I would like to do the welcome cruise. It has always been a very nice event. I would like to do it in the last quarter of this year. We have to decide on a date. And then I need to know who would, should I ask Captiva Cruises? Yeah, should I ask them what? I'm very sure they are supportive and helpful, or would someone of the panel go ahead and ask them?
Marguerite, what are you asking them for? Are you asking them to comp it? Because I think if anybody needs support, they do. I don't know. Is that what you're asking exactly for?
Yes, I was hoping. Yes, I was hoping that they could comp it like they have in the past.
Did we comp them in the past, or did we pay for them? I couldn't remember.
As far as I know, they did it for free. Yes, they did.
They did.
They were very giving that way.
And I am pretty confident they would continue to be.
Yeah, so who should ask them to decide? And most probably that will decide on a day too. And then, of course, we have to compare to event calendars to not, interfere with other events.
So you're saying you need somebody to contact Captiva Cruises and find a date that works for them. Is that what you're saying?
No, I could do it myself, or if I don't know who has done it in the past. So I wanted to know, should I do it, or is there someone amongst us who has done it, or
either I did it or Ann Brady did it in the past.
Yeah, would you like me to do it?
I'm happy to do it if it speeds up the process.
Okay, yeah, then I'll ask, yeah, then please do it. So would you get back to me with possible dates so we can go over the dates?
Yes.
Yes, very good. And then also in the past, we had restaurants providing food. I assume we the same template would be redone.
Mhm. It seemed to work. It worked fine.
Oh, it was always very very nice, and restaurants were very giving.
Mhm.
What we will do this year, we will ask for a fee to participate. The last cruise was for free, but it's very fair to ask for a contribution.
Mhm. Wasn't it $100 the last time we had the cruise? It was $100 for the
No,
boat.
the last time was for free, and I think in the past it was up to $250 per person. Ken, do you have the numbers?
Usually it was about $100 a person, sometimes higher, but it seemed to settle on 100 per person.
Yeah,
Oh,
I recall this. It was always a minimum contribution of $100 a person. Last year, we waived it because, you know, everybody was recovering from hurricane damage, and I think we were hoping that a number of people would contribute anyway. I don't know if we did get contributions, even though we said it was free. Does anybody know that if we still got contributions or?
Not really.
Yeah, I think we agree that we should continue to charge $100 a ticket. What happened last year is it was free, and then the weather was a little tricky, and
Mhm.
people who didn't buy tickets I didn't want to get cold, so I wouldn't go, and I didn't pay for a ticket, so I'm not going. And so
Okay,
I think what we learned is that you
I
charge.
need to charge.
Yeah. Right.
That's fine. And Marguerite, I will go ahead and donate food from my restaurants as well.
fabulous. Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome.
Sandy, I think you and I think Green Flash did something too, didn't they?
Yes, I think they did, if I recall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, we can get them to all pitch in. And how many it's limited to what, 100 people? Is that what the boat holds?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, if we can get $100 each, I think that would be pretty good. And I still think we ought to do, this is just me speaking, Captiva Cruises had a rough go, and I would certainly look at maybe paying for the fuel or something rather than just a total freebie. I just think we need to support the local businesses, and they have, hey, right now, we've never had a worse September than we're having as far as occupancy goes, and I know they're sitting there dead still, so I would like to think about doing something for them.
Yeah, Tony, thank you for the suggestion. We will definitely find a sponsor, and if no one can sponsor it, we will find a way to, yeah, definitely where they can do it, where they don't have to pay out of pocket. Yes.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, then the next is the end of year solicitation letter that we will send out. Ken usually puts it together. We will go over it, and that should help. We had the Preservati family. I don't know if I pronounce it right. And David said he would go get in touch with them to see if they would be willing to donate, to renew their donation.
Okay. I will do
Then
that.
I suggested another, I would like to a fundraising event with Kat Apple. For those who don't know her, she's a musician. She has won a lot of awards, and she was a very good friend of Bob Ruschenberg's. He actually had her play at openings internationally, and she's willing to play and also tell stories. And I asked her way before I found out that the foundation was selling their Captiva properties. I reached out to the Russienberg Foundation to see if we could have the event on one of their properties, but they said they were in no position to offer that. So I'm hoping we can do it at the CCA. And I was thinking maybe, yeah, for food, I was thinking to maybe have a food truck, maybe a Sanibel business, and then beverages. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a nice community event. It's part of our history, and yeah, a nice entertaining event that will help raise funds for the community panel.
I think it's a great idea.
You should talk to Lauren, who's the new director for CCA, to work out schedule and timing, and they have a lot of things going on there, but I'm sure she'll work closely with you on this.
Yeah, I'm back on the island, so I will be out and about and get that done.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Sanibel food truck, I haven't talked to them, but one of the food trucks is the Sanibel Sprout, a young business. I mean, they continue. So I'm hoping to, I would like to stay local with the food truck.
Mhm.
The target revenue, that's a good question. I'm hoping to also do $10,000.
Yeah. And Lazy Flamingo has I think they have a food truck too, just something to consider.
That's true. Yes, there is. And then there's a taco truck near, it's very often parked near the Sanibel Bean.
Okay, all right.
So I just thought something different, yeah, we'll see how that works.
Yeah. Okay.
And yes, identify and solicit new donors. That's something where, right, David, I would go over the list with you.
Okay.
You mentioned, yeah. And then grant opportunities. Yeah, in the it's always good to find grants or state money that we have access to. We have been supported in the past by having studies paid, or yeah, but especially now with the Russienberg Foundation selling, yeah, that's a whole new chapter.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition for funds. Obviously there's Protect Captiva in the litigation. There's now raising, $40 million or something for the Rauschenberg property. Maybe it's only 25 million, whatever it is. There's funding the panel so that we continue to coordinate all of these various activities. But we're lucky we have a community that is able to contribute. So we'll just have to balance all of that and figure out, what the priorities are and go from there. But thank you, Marguerite. I think you should just work closely with Ken to figure out what it is, whether we can meet our needs budget-wise, and if not, then we would have to figure out some other way to make sure that we're viable.
Well, I did buy a lotto ticket, but it didn't work out for me, and that's just fine. Anyway, yes, I'm also hoping to get some new faces, not faces. I want to reach out to some people from Sanibel, hoping to join us on the cruise, because we are working together, both islands. And even though Captiva Protect is doing the lawsuit and everything, yeah, we are as important because we were the ones creating the Captiva Community Plan, and so yeah, I agree, David. We figure it out.
Yeah, we've, all the code and plan provisions stem from the work of this panel over the decades.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any comments, any questions anymore from Marguerite? She knows what she's got to do. Okay. Okay. Any audience comments, Ken, that we haven't addressed?
No, they're not.
Okay, any comments from the panel members or questions that we haven't addressed also, basically new business? Is there anything from the panel that we want to discuss at this point? No, no. Okay, then do I have a motion to adjourn and then a second from someone different?
I motion to adjourn.
Okay, and is there a second? Tony, we can't hear you, but I can see your mouth said, I second. Okay, all those in favor of adjourning, please say yes.
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 All those opposed, no. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you in October.
Thank
Don't
you.
see me, but that's
Thanks,
good.
David.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Donnie, I'll see you Thursday. All right, guys.
Yeah,
Take
thanks,
care.
Tony.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Everybody, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.